So, welcome to Module 8, everyone. You catch more flies with honey. And today we're really going to talk about sponsoring and recruiting. And last week we spoke about the products and the parties and all of those sort of things. This week we're really talking about how to make the big money. Basically, this is the secret to making the big money. So, I use the word sponsoring and recruiting I tend to sort of go between the two, but I think we are recruiting people, but what we're really doing when we're bringing people into our teams is we're sponsoring them. And that's more of I feel recruiting is more of like a management term and sponsoring is more of a leadership term. And when you're in this sort of business, we're in leadership, which is really important. I'm hoping that Joe might allow us to roll out another course, a shorter course than the one we've been doing, but something more for sponsoring, because I think that for some of you, you're really now getting to that point. There's quite a handful of you who are wanting to start sponsoring and you've already perhaps started. So it's a natural progression. So what we're really going to talk about today is the importance of sponsoring and the importance of growing your team and when you should be getting started in doing that within your business in terms of how long you've been in business for. So I want to share with you the mantra, and this mantra has been taken, and I should have credited her on the bottom of this, by Mary Christensen, who I've spoken about before. Sales are your income for today. Bookings are your income for tomorrow. Sponsoring is your income forever. And this is really, really, really on the money, absolutely spot on, because we can go to parties and sell and we'll get paid our commission each month from Pash. That's guaranteed. If you go and sell, you will make money. If we're not booking anything, we're not going to have the sales. So bookings really do ensure that we've got money coming in tomorrow or next month or next week or whenever it is that you've got bookings in. So the bookings help to drive the sales. But if you want to actually have an income forever and to make money, just having money roll into your account every month on top of what you earn from your sales is sponsoring. And you know, you guys are in a position where you can earn 6%, 4%, 2%, and even 1% of all of your downlines. And downlines, when we talk about downlines, is the people directly underneath you. We call your downline 1. They're like your front of the army, front army. And then the people that they recruit become your downline 2. So you're actually still earning money off of those people. Downline 3, you could have 100 million downlines if you really were that successful. So it never ends. And the money that you earn from these people goes straight into your account along with your commission from your sales. And I, at one point, was earning around about, I think it might have got to about $800 to $900 a month in commission just from my team. So that was in excess of what I was earning from myself as well. And to be able to qualify as a manager for your team sales, you've only got to sell $2,000. And if you're in a position where you're really working this as a business, $2,000 does become very achievable consistently. So it is something that you do work up to, but I think once you've got a team, you really do step up into that next level of, you really take it really seriously and you really fight for those bookings and you make sure that you hold them every month. So this is just something that you just have a pick of your brain, write it down if you want. I can post it up in the Facebook group, but it's something that really keeps you focused on where you're going and what you're doing, and to know that there's always going to be an income there and that sponsoring is the way to do it. This is a tiny little slide, isn't it? But I wanted to see, do you guys have some sponsoring goals? Is there anything that you're aspiring to at the moment? I know some of you have already started to sponsor people and build your team. Some of you are trying really hard to make those initial connections. Others may not have even, some of you haven't considered sponsoring yet or feel it's not quite the right time yet. So do you have any sponsoring goals? You should set a goal for yourself. It might be small. It might just be like, okay, well, I want to sponsor one person into my team by the end of the year. You might be really, really, really wanting to go hard at it. You might say, I want to go to manager by the end of this year. So really decide whether or not what you want to do and whether or not you want to give it a go. I would highly recommend giving it a go. I'll tell you a couple of my stories a bit later. And the common misconception about recruiting, there are a few. And again, I've used recruiting and sponsoring. I've used them both in this slide, so you'll sort of get to know what I'm talking about. A common misconception is that people think, well, I've got to have everything sorted in my own business before I bring someone else into my team. Or I have to be making a certain amount of money before I recruit people or sponsor people. Or perhaps you might be someone who might be thinking, well, I wouldn't be confident until I've been in business for 12 months. So I can't sponsor anybody until the 12-month mark. So there's lots of misconceptions, but none of those are the case. You can start sponsoring from the day you sign as a consultant. And I know when I was working with Pash as a consultant, we had a lady come on board and she made manager in her first month because she recruited in her first week and just went hard at it. So it can be done very quickly. And the more people that you sponsor, the better you sort of get at it, the more confident that you are in converting those leads over into your team. So common misconceptions are, you know, that you've got to wait till something's just right in your business. Not the case. It's a journey. You're inviting people to come on a journey with you to wherever your destination might be. Their destination might be slightly different. They might not be wanting the same things, but you're all on the journey together, helping each other. So it becomes less of a manager recruit. It becomes more of a team and a sponsor and a guidance and a leadership role. Come with me rather than come along behind me. So have a think about that. If you've ever said any of those things to yourself, like, oh, I couldn't possibly get, I've only been doing it for 2 months or anything like that, start maybe thinking a little broader and have a little bit more confidence to know that you can do this if you want to do it. Very, very, very strong ideas, very good mindset shift to have at this point. But here's the secret to recruiting and to sponsoring. Use the words in again. People have to want what you have before they join your team. And if you have a think about that, they have to want to be where you are right now. They have to aspire to be doing whatever it is that you're doing. There's going to be something that appeals to someone about you and your business that they want. And it's the same thing. Remember last time we talked about how people have to buy you before they buy their product. People have to trust you, build a relationship with you. It's the same sort of thing. People will only want to join your team and come along on that journey with you if there's something that they want that they aspire to about you. So it might be, someone might be really in awe of the fact that you get to stay home all day with your kids and work from home and still have an income. They might want that. So that's why they're going to join you on your journey. They might see you going on your holiday to Bora Bora, Morgan, and go, oh my God, I absolutely have to do that. If she can do that, I want that too. I'm joining that team. So when people are watching what you're doing and they start to aspire to doing things that you're doing, that's when they want to come along on that journey with you. And that's why you have to be the essence of your business all the time. You always have to be projecting what the benefit of this business opportunity is so that people will want to jump on and join you. Because if you're on social media going, oh my God, my order didn't come in this week, or, you know, have a little bit of a whinge over here about someone else within the consultant group, or maybe you're having a whinge about something else, I don't know, people are going to go, oh, well, why would I want to do that? Everything really has to be positive. And there are some days that are really crap, and there are some days where we do get quite cross with our situation, or something doesn't go to plan, or you don't have the best party, or something happens. But what you project out to people should be the essence of the positivity. And I think that's when people really want to join you. They want to go, I want what she's got. I want what she's doing. I want to be successful like that. So it is important that what you project out to people makes them want to come with you on the journey. And I've put together some examples to show you. So what this is talking about is continuously planting seeds. And when I say planting seeds, you're planting seeds for other people so that they will want to do that. I'm going to tell you the Nora story, and you will actually see a photo of Nora shortly. Nora, I'm still trying to think of a really good acronym for Nora, but it will come to me one day. People are watching you. And the Nora story is one of my clients who works for Arbonne, which is a skincare range. We were doing some coaching, and she was trying to build her team, and she's built a beautifully successful team. But she said that she didn't think that Nora would be interested in the business opportunity. And she came back to, I said, well, why don't you just ask her? And she said, oh, no, I couldn't. I don't think she'll be interested. She's, you know, she had all these excuses as to why she wasn't going to ask. Eventually, I said, go and ask her, and she did. And Nora said to her, I never thought you'd ask. I'd been watching you for 5 months. Like, she'd been like 5 or 6 months watching this girl, and said, I've been just following your story, and I just can't believe how successful you've become at this. And I never thought you'd ask me. I'm so flattered. And Nora joined her team that day and bought the biggest kit. which I think in Arbonne's worth about $2,000. So Nora, the story of Nora is one of those things where Nora watched for 5 or 6 months. She was watching every little seed that Melanie planted, and in the end joined her team. Would never have asked, but joined her team when she was invited. So people are watching you all the time. So it's really important that what you project out is positive, is achievable, is successful, and you're really creating and showing people the beauty of the business opportunity. So I think I've basically talked through all of my bits and pieces here. Sorry about that. And it's really important to do that on social media, whichever social media platforms that you use. They should all be really positive, but not just on your business pages. You should also be doing that into your personal page, because again, there are Noras all in your personal pages as well that you might not even think would be interested in this business opportunity. But eventually, once you've planted those seeds and those plants start to grow, they will go, I've been watching you doing this, you know, and you're doing such a great job. I want to join your team. So personal page and business page, Instagram. If you can work out ways to get your infographics right, you can use Pinterest, you can use Twitter, all of those things. I wouldn't suggest everyone go out and get one of every sort of account. I sort of think that you in social media should only pick 2 platforms, maybe 3 at the most, and nail them rather than trying to do it over the whole lot. So something to consider there. And what you're really doing when you're selling this thing on, and well, selling your opportunity, I suppose it is, and planting those seeds, is you want to be talking about the benefits and the perks of the business continuously. So when I've talked to some of you about that 80-20 rule for social media, if you don't know what I'm talking about with 80-20, ask me in your next session. Your benefits and perks, that's what makes up your 80% of your posts. The selling is your other 20%. So yeah, if we haven't talked about that in your coaching session, make sure that you ask me about the 80-20 rule. It'll be the one thing that it gets maximum engagement on your pages. So that's about planting seeds, and planting seeds doesn't have to just be on social media either. Get your butt off social media, go and talk to people, tell them all about what you're doing, tell them about the perks, tell them about the benefits, tell them about your goal to go to Bora Bora or wherever it is that you're going to go or do or buy or be, so that people go, oh, wow, she's actually working towards something amazing. I want that too. So what I've done now, all the girls have said I can use these, which is fine, but you guys are more than welcome to go on and like their pages. This is Melanie, who I've just talked about. She's one of my clients who is an Arbonne consultant. And this is a really good example of a post that she's put up on her social media recently on August 26th. So she said, Wednesday, online training night from the comfort of my lounge in my PJs, my favourite night of the week. Love seeing these beautiful faces every week. So they're actually using Zoom, which is the same platform that we're using at the moment. And those ladies that you can see there are from all over the world. So her team is enormous. And she's basically showing the people, showing the Noras in her social media world that she can work from home. She's in the comfort of her own home on her lounge. She's working and training, but she's in her PJs, which means she doesn't have to leave the house to go and do training. She doesn't have to leave her family or be uncomfortable or go out in the evening if she doesn't want to. She's living the life from her lounge room, basically. She's learning, she's growing, she's building a big business in her PJs on the lounge. What this tells the Noras of the world, or the people watching you, is that, wow, that looks like a really great way to make money. This is a great way to do my training. I can't believe that she's actually making money by sitting at home in her PJs right now, by learning and doing all of those things. So this is what will appeal to some people that are watching you. And she gets really good engagement off these sort of posts. Here's another one. Now this is Nora, who I've actually talked about. She's a real person, and she's actually from Germany. So she's come to Australia. Her English is quite good, but this is something that she's taken on because she really wanted to be at home. She's got 2 little boys. So she's actually written, it's those days that I'm grateful to be able to work from home. We didn't have a great night because my little boy isn't feeling well. So it's lots of cuddles and catching up on some reading time today. And you can see her hashtags there if you're using Instagram. They're very powerful. Stay at home mum, work from home, sick toddler, self-development. So she's actually showing all the other Noras that are watching her that, hey, I didn't have to ring in and call in sick for my boss today. I didn't have to have that uncomfortable conversation. I can be at home with my kids. My business is here for when he's asleep. I can work on my business while I'm at home with my kids, and I don't have to leave them when they're sick or inconvenience my workplace. So this is something that will really, when we come back to people's hot buttons, that's going to appeal to a lot of people. A lot of mums with young children want this kind of life. They don't want to have to leave their kids when they're sick. They don't want to have to palm them off to the grandparents or to a babysitter when they're unwell because they've got to go to work. So this is one of those really great planting seed things for people to go, I want that. I want to be able to do that. This is another one of Mel's. So you can see she's taken a selfie of herself using Zoom. And she has said, best job ever, launching my beautiful team member and lifelong friends Arbonne business while still being at home with my family when they need me. So blessed to have this opportunity in our lives. So what Melanie does is when she's got a new team member and she's recruited someone or sponsored someone, she actually goes to their first party, they cut a ribbon, she gives them flowers and chocolates, and they launch the new business. And on this occasion, Melanie couldn't be there because her little one was sick. And so she was able to, thanks to technology, do that from the comfort of her own home. And she's telling people what a fantastic way to do business this is. So she's still helping her team member, supporting her new team member, but can still be at home with her little one as well. So these are the kinds of things. I'm just trying to give you a few different examples for what kind of seeds you can plant so that people will go, I want to join that team because that's the lifestyle that I want. And the last one, this is Cassandra House. Cassandra was a colleague of mine, a teacher from Byron Bay High School. She was a PE teacher. She started her, this is actually the big Arbonne leader, so she started her Arbonne journey, and she now is at the top of the company, absolute top of the company, and earns about $40,000 to $50,000 a month. What she's doing here is, I won't read all that, but basically what she's saying is that she was exploring the meatpacking district in Manhattan. She basically was living there for 6 months because of her business opportunity and where it took her and the money that she earned from it. And she's just saying that she feels so grateful and basically that, you know, she said here now to coach, mentor and inspire my amazing team and business partners from all over. When your lifestyle, your passion and business unite, it's a wonderful thing. So she's showing people what the big possibilities are in terms of what that business opportunity can do. And that's very powerful. So we've just sort of looked at a few from the ground level and then all the way up. Like Cassandra's obviously very successful. She's got hundreds of people in her team. But I wanted to show you how you could mirror some of the same things for your business so that you're planting the seeds for recruitment. But it is all about developing relationships. You're in the relationships business, and when you really develop those meaningful relationships, that's when you can really aid someone. You can help somebody to achieve their dreams, I suppose we can say. So when you work out what their hot button is, what their needs are, it's so much easier for you to meet them. So say you do have somebody like Nora who, you know, has come to the country, they're living with their husband, they've got little kids, but they want to be at home. Once you've built that relationship with that person and you understand what their need is, you can then offer them the business opportunity to help their situation. So developing relationships is very important and very powerful because if you don't know what people quite want or, you know, what they're looking for, it's very hard to get them on board for the right reasons. So developing relationships online, offline is just, if not more important than online. So always try to speak to your people at your parties, work out who is maybe interested or fitted for the opportunity, and make sure that you're developing a relationship with them. And here are my hot tips for recruiting. And I've spoken to a couple of you about this. You know, when I first started, I just wanted to, you know, sponsor everyone. Anyone that said they were interested, I just wanted to sign them up. And I ended up with some really fantastic girls in my team. And I also ended up with a whole heap of pain in the necks as well. And I got to know after a while who was going to be good and who wasn't. And so what I started to do was really look for people who I felt were just like me, someone who was really positive, really enthusiastic, someone who was a real go-getter, had a really positive mindset, and, you know, action people rather than just talking, I'm gonna. I looked for those type of people, and they, in the end, I actually turned people away from my team when I had a big team, of course. But, you know, once I had about 20, 25 people, I started to go, I'll let one of my girls recruit you to get the practice and to grow their own team. I'm only looking to look after people who are really dead set serious about growing a business. So I actually, in the end, started to look for people just like me, and I would accept them on my team if I felt that they were going to be good and that they were driven like me. Otherwise, I'd give them to one of my girls. So you might decide that you're looking for a certain type of person for your business, and it's when you sort of have a bit of a checklist, it's like finding the perfect man, you know, tall, dark, handsome, wealthy, all of those things. When you start having a bit of a list for who you'd like to recruit, you're going to find that those people will stand out a little bit easier to you. You're going to try and aim to meet that person's individual need, which is their hot button, which we've just talked about. When you develop a relationship with someone, it's easier to offer them the opportunity at a personal level rather than just at a general, hey, come on board sort of level. You will actually be able to personalize it and go, you know what, you know how you said you were $1,000 in credit card debt? I can help you with that. Here's an opportunity for you. So you can really get to know what people want. The other thing, we're going to cover this in another module coming up in a bit more detail, but knowing the difference between people's objections and people's excuses. And objections are very common, and you will hear them when you're trying to book parties all the time. Common objections are, oh, I don't know enough people, or I don't know if there's going to be a date that will suit everyone. But then there are excuses, things that people say to sabotage their own opportunity of doing whatever it is, whether it's booking a party or actually coming onto the team. There's a big difference between people having objections in terms of worries or concerns and excuses. And if people are giving you excuses, drop them, get rid of them. Here's my number, call me if you're ever ready. People that are making objections are things that you can actually give them an answer that will help them to overcome an objection. You can't overcome excuses. So really start to listen when you're talking to people about the opportunity and think to yourself, is this an objection or is this an excuse? If it's an excuse, off you go, don't want to know. But if it's an objection, let me help you work through it. Let's see if we can find our way through so that we can help you get onto the team and get started and earn some fabulous money. We talked about taking people on a journey with you. You don't have to have it all figured out. Take them along with you. Learn together as you go. It's a fabulous way to learn the skills in terms of leadership and also to build your team at the same time. And keep filling your bucket. And the bucket, the team bucket, which is everyone in your team's in a little bucket, it always has a hole in it, which means that, you know, every time you recruit someone else is going to fall through that hole. So it's really important that you keep topping up your team bucket all the time, which means who's next, who's next, who's next, more people on your team. In the end, I think we had about 75 and I might have had about 20 to 25 active. So they do fall through fairly quickly. And again, the people that have objections usually stay. The people that have excuses will fall through fairly quickly. So something just to consider there as well. Just keep going. So Morgan, I know you're halfway there. Don't stop. Keep filling that bucket just in case. Now, when you do have someone that's interested, you want to offer them a business opportunity meeting. Don't delay. Always try and follow up straight away. Get a date booked in and work from there. And always refer to them as business opportunity meetings, because if you start saying, let's catch up and I'll tell you all about it, it sort of doesn't set, I don't feel it sets the tone for what you want from them. You want them to grow a business. They might only want, a part-time business. They might want a full-time business, but what you are offering them is a business opportunity. And I think if you really start to call it that right from the beginning, you've raised the standard up so much higher, and they're starting at that higher standard rather than just going into it as a bit of a hobby kind of mentality. And it's okay if they want to do that, but having the bar set at business opportunity will really make a difference to the types of people that you're inviting into your team as well. Now, your first meeting should be all about them, and this is something I can go into more detail with if you're interested and if you're starting to build your team. But, when you get together and talk, let them do all the talking on that first meeting. Let them share with you their hot button. Let them share with you what their dreams and aspirations are if they were to come on board in your team. And only answer the questions that they ask. And I know when we get together with people, we want to tell them everything because we're so excited. that sometimes giving them too much information first up can actually do the opposite. It has the opposite effect. So what you want to do is let them do most of the talking, get them to ask the questions that they're interested in. One of the main questions that they're going to ask is, how much money can I make from this? And there are lots of different ways that you can answer that question. The one way that I would suggest you don't do that is by showing them the breakdown of the compensation plan and saying, well, if you sold this much, let's work it out and see how much you'd get. I feel that that's a lot too soon. You might take a more simpler approach with something like that, just so that they can get a bit of an idea. You might just say, here is the average party sales. If you were to do 3 parties in a month, you'd average about this much money. Really simple to start with, because you can overcomplicate it for people and they end up walking away more confused than they were before. You might have more than 2 meetings, but from then on, after that, you might meet a couple of times to go through some details. But the second meeting should be all about that sign-up process and getting the paperwork through. And then you set up the business training meeting as soon as possible after that, even before they get their kit in some aspects, because you want to start to get them engaged in the business straight away. So even though that might not happen just over 2 meetings, it's really important to let them have the floor for that first bit, because it is all about them and what you can do for them, not about what they can do for you. And that's something else I saw a lot of people doing, was making it all about themselves and not about the person coming on board. And it's really important that they feel like they're being supported and that they feel that they're coming into something that is about them, not just about you as the upline. And one last thought before we finish up, duplication is something that I would go into far more detail with if we were doing an aspiring managers course or a managers course. But duplication in theory is, it's more than just sponsoring. This is something that if you're already sponsored or you're about to sponsor someone, that you should consider straight away. Is basically, you want to teach your team to do exactly what you're doing. And then they will teach the people that they recruit or sponsor to do exactly what they're doing. So that what you're doing is you're making carbon copies of everybody and they're all doing the same thing in the same way. And that means that you're rolling out really high quality team members that are all really busy and active right from the beginning. So the way that this sort of works, if you only sponsored 1 consultant per month and you also taught every team member to do the same, your team would grow to be quite big. So if I had started and I just sponsor 1 person in September, that's fantastic. But in October, we're each going to sponsor another person. So that would be now 4 team members. And in the next month, we'd have 4 team members who would each sponsor 1 person. So we would grow to 8 team members and so on and so forth. So in theory, if we do the mathematical theory of duplication, if every single person in your team sponsored just 1 person a month, and we're just saying that no one drops off, but we know that they do, it means that in 6 months you could grow a team of 64 consultants. So just by sponsoring 1 and teaching everyone else to sponsor 1 in their first month or every month means that you could grow quite a big team. And even if 20 to 30% of those people fell off, you'd still have a really big team, a really big active team. So duplication is something that I didn't want to go too far into actually managing and leading a team, but just so that you guys could see what could be done in terms of, right from the start, get your girls talking about sponsoring, get them talking about big bookings, big sales, all of those things together, and you're going to grow quite a rich, thick team, which is what we want. So that's just a little bit of food for thought, more so than in the training. And if you want to talk to me more about duplication, please just send me an email or something like that and just say, hey, in my session, I really want to talk about this. So I'll leave it there. The coursework for this week is to share with us your recruitment goal. And if you don't want to recruit, say, oh, I don't want to recruit. I don't want to do that. But if you do, I want you to really think to yourself, okay, what would I like to set myself a goal for? What would I like to achieve? And I want it to be for basically the next 6 weeks, so before the end of October. And I want you to also write down 3 actions that you're going to take in order to get to that recruitment goal starting today. What can you do starting today? 3 things that you're going to try, 3 things you're going to change within how you work your business, or might be 3 people that you approach, or maybe whatever it's going to be. 3 things that you're going to do to actually start you on the right stepping stone to get to that recruitment goal. So that will be the coursework. I'll pop up a little bit later. And we'll open the floor up to some questions and comments if there's anyone. Feel free to unmute yourselves.
Thanks, Tash. That was awesome.
Hi, Joe. How are you? I didn't see you.
Hi, good. I just wanted to, hi guys. I just wanted to, there's 3 really important things that I took out of that I think is a good takeout. And the first one is, don't be afraid to ask people. Remember the Nora, and it is so true. You know, you don't think of asking people. That whole idea of just recruiting one, I think sometimes we think, I'll never recruit a big team, but if you just set yourself a goal of every week, I'm just going to recruit one person, very quickly you have a massive team and you're earning $10,000 a month from your team. The third thing is just about those systems and processes. If you have a really good system, think of McDonald's, why they became successful, because they just replicate themselves. So by having a system and a process, you just make it easy for everyone, you make it achievable, and you make it professional. It helps your business as well. And really by building teams, what we're doing is we're building a strong clash for everyone. So if we can really start to build some momentum with the business, it just helps us help you guys, because you know we've got the substance, we have the teams, and we'll be able to do so many more great things, like to Bora Bora for everyone, including me, Morgan. Come on with you, girlfriend. So I mean, that's exactly the sorts of things that we can do once we've got a bit more critical mass. So yeah, and don't forget, we're here to help. So if you've got people that you want us to speak to, we can always hook up with a 3-way and have a chat, you know, via Zoom or Skype or whatever, and help you, you know, answer the questions that perhaps you're not as comfortable with. All right, has anyone got anything they want to share? Any great successes? Any input from that? Anyone? No? Okay, well, if there's no little, oh, here we go, hang on, there's a little 3-way, oh gosh, all right, Morgan. So Morgan's just, you've probably all seen it, 3-way, not something I usually offer, but maybe I'll find it interested parties now. It's another recruiting strategy, right? Never underestimate any opportunity, right?
I watched your eyes.
I love your lateral thinking. All right, my darlings, conscious of the time, so really looking forward to seeing your goals and seeing how we can help. And I've just, as Tash was going through that, I thought of a really great promotion we're going to whack on the back of that to incentivise you all. So keep your eyes out for that. So thanks, guys. Unless there's any other conversations, Tash, thanks so much for your email, Tash. And I just wanted to say, I've been really loving the feedback that we've been getting through on the Facebook group, and thank you for acknowledging Tash's contribution to really helping you all develop a better business strategy and for really starting to kick some goals. So I did want to take this opportunity to say, Tash, thank you. It's been really great. I know we're not at the end yet, which is great. We've got some other things that we're going to talk about doing, so it's really good. But thank you
Wonderful.
for being part of this evolution. It's really great.
Wonderful. Thank
All
you,
right,
everybody.
guys. See you later, everyone.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye. Say.